Now, I want to go over an example of how multicollinearity is going to impact the estimated coefficients that we get and exactly why that process is occurring. So, we're going to talk about exactly how high correlations in your predictor variables, when they're highly correlated with each other, that's going to impact our estimated coefficients. The example that we're going to talk about is a disease, or actually two diseases, and the outcome that we're interested in is how those two diseases impact the white blood cell count, so I'm going to say WBC from here on out, of sick patients. So that's what we're going to measure, of how sick people are. Now, the outcome specifically is going to be the blood cell count per microliter of blood. That's going to be the unit of observation. And when we have an increase in white blood cell counts, that's going to coincide with people being sicker. Now, we also have two predictors, and we have measures of the quantity of some organism A in the body, and we'll call that X1. And then we have a second organism in the body called organism B, and that'll be X2. Now, unbeknownst to researchers, it's actually organism A that is going to be attacking the body, and that's going to increase white blood cells. Now, what also is going to be the case is that organism B is going to be highly correlated with organism A, but it's mostly a harmless byproduct. So what we end up seeing is that when we look at the bivariate correlation, like we should, with a scatter plot between X1 and our outcome, we see that there is a positive linear association. So that's good, right? We're seeing exactly the true relationship that we would expect if we actually knew, but researchers don't. However, if we look at the bivariate relationship between X2 and our outcome, we also see a very strong and linear relationship. Now, although the relationship on the left is what researchers want to uncover, that's the true underlying relationship between organism A, B, and our outcome, we would look at the data and we would say, before we run our regression analysis, it does seem like we should expect that there's going to be a strong relationship between X2 and our outcome. Now, what we should do, and what I've been stressing over the last couple of modules and problem sets, is to look at the bivariate relationship of our covariates as well. And like I said, what we know to be true is that X2, organism B, is largely a byproduct, but it is almost perfectly linearly associated with X1. So this is going to be problematic, right? There's a linear relationship between our two covariates. And the specific problem that we're going to see is that if we took subsets of the data and just fit a model with both of our predictors and white blood cell count as our outcome, we'd end up getting quite a large variation in both estimates of X1 and X2. So beta 1 and beta 2, you can see here, are quite different based on the subset of observations that we have. And the same thing is the case for beta 2. Now, why is that the case? Well, this is largely due to the fact that they co-vary together. So again, what we can see is that collinearity is going to really affect the estimates of our betas. It's going to induce biasness and unreliability. So not only will the betas change from one simulation to the next, they're going to change from positive to negative probably, and again, like I said, it's going to change the reliability of our estimates. So a lot of the time, even though we know the true relationship should not be zero, it may very well be the case that our betas are not distinguishable from zero. And that's not necessarily because of anything that we're doing in our model, but that's going to be a byproduct of having larger standard errors. We literally cannot attribute the partial effect of one variable and the other because we're unsure of how those variables are correlated to each other, right? We can't hold them constant with changing the other. They must move simultaneously. So we need to think about what are we going to do to overcome this issue.